Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a book that completely flips the script on productivity. It's called The One Thing, and its core idea is pretty radical. If you want to achieve more, you actually need to do less. Sounds crazy, right? Well, it argues that truly extraordinary results don't come from juggling everything, but from focusing on one single critical thing. Let's get into it.
So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? Your to-do list just keeps growing, you're bouncing from meeting to email to project, you're busy all day long. But when you finally shut your laptop, you have this nagging feeling that you didn't really accomplish anything that truly matters. If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone.
And here's the good news. The problem isn't that you're not working hard enough. It's not you. It's the way you're approaching your work. The book suggests a huge shift in how we think, moving away from that frantic juggling act and toward mastering just one important thing at a time.
Okay, so first things first. We have to debunk a huge lie that we've all been sold for years. The idea that multitasking is some kind of superpower. The book argues it's not just a bad strategy, it's literally impossible for our brains to do.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? When we think we're multitasking, what our brain is actually doing is switching back and forth between tasks really fast. And every single switch costs us. It costs us time, it costs us focus, and it means that nothing we're working on gets our best effort. Bottom line, multitasking was the enemy of doing great work.
So if multitasking is out, what's in? What's the alternative? Well, the core idea of the whole book is built around this incredibly powerful visual, the domino effect.
The concept here is so simple, but it's also profound. You don't achieve massive success all at once. It's a chain reaction. It's about lining up your priorities and then knocking them down one by one. You start with the right small action, and that builds the momentum to achieve something huge.
And this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Look at the power of this idea. A single normal-sized domino has enough force to knock over another one that's 50% larger than it is. If you keep that chain going, the results are just astronomical. By the 18th domino, you're at the height of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The 31st would be taller than Mount Everest. And the 57th domino in that chain, it would almost stretch to the moon. Your huge, life-changing goal is that last domino. Your only job is to figure out which one is the first.
Now, this idea connects directly to something you've probably heard of before, the 80-20 principle. It basically says that the vast majority of your results, about 80%, come from a very small portion of your efforts, about 20%. The book calls this the difference between the vital few and the trivial many. Our biggest problem is that we spend most of our day lost in that trivial many, spinning our wheels on things that just don't move the needle.
So success isn't about clearing your entire to-do list. Not at all. It's about finding that critical 20%. That's your one thing. And focusing your best energy there. That's how you get those huge, outsized results.
Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But how in the world do you find that vital few? How do you identify that all-important first domino? Well, the book gives us the master tool for that. It's a single question that's designed to guide every single decision you make.
This is it. This is the magic question. I'd read it again. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? It's brilliant because it does two things at once. First, it makes you think big about the ultimate impact. But second, it forces you to get super small and specific about what you can do right now to start that domino chain. This question is basically your compass.
And the best part is, this isn't just a work or business question. You can use it in literally any part of your life to get crystal clear on what matters. Whether you're thinking about your health, your finances, your relationships, asking this question cuts through all the noise and shows you the single most powerful action you can take.
So, finding your one thing is step one. But we all know the next part is the real battle, actually doing it. This means you have to become a fierce, unapologetic guardian of your time and your focus. And you can't just rely on brute force and willpower to get it done. The book explains that willpower is a lot like the battery on your phone. It's a finite resource, and it drains throughout the day. That's why habits are the real key to success. When you make your one thing an automatic habit, you're not burning through that precious willpower just to get started. You're putting success on autopilot. So how do you actually protect that focus? The book gives us 3 super practical strategies. Number 1, time blocking. You literally schedule an appointment with yourself to work on your one thing, and you treat it as the most important meeting of your day. 2, as we've already covered, you have to stop trying to multitask. And 3, this is the hard one for a lot of us, you have to get really good at saying no. Because every single time you say yes to something small,
You are implicitly saying no to your most important priority.
Now, when you start putting all these pieces together, you realize this isn't just a productivity hack. This is about designing a life of purpose, a life built around what is uniquely important to you.
And this brings us to another myth the book busts, the idea of work-life balance. We're always told to seek balance, right? Well, the book argues that when you try to give everything equal attention, you end up being mediocre at everything. The alternative is something called counterbalance. It means you go all in, you go to extremes on your priority for a period of time, and then you intentionally pull back to recover. It's about being purposefully unbalanced to achieve something truly extraordinary.
So let's just tie this all together into a clear path forward. It all starts with purpose. Knowing your big why gives you the clarity to pick your one thing. From there, you use the focusing question every day to make sure you're on track. Then, you protect that time block like your life depends on it. And finally, you find someone or something to keep you accountable, because we all need that support to stay on course.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. Those extraordinary results you want, they're out there. And they're not hiding behind a mountain of 100 different tasks. They're waiting behind a single, well-chosen first domino. So the only real question left to answer is the one right here. What is your first domino?